This chapter will help us to learn about multilateralism and regional economic cooperation. The entire chapter is divided into four parts. Part 1 will explain to us meaning and differences between multilateralism and regionalism, different forms of regional integrations, and few of the regional trade agreements. Part 2 is about WTO, its functions, principles, and objectives. Part 3 is about different agreements of WTO. The Agreement on Agriculture has been separately dealt with in Part 4. Robert Cohen defined multilateralism as the practice of coordinating national policies in groups of three or more states. It is represented by the efforts of worldwide liberalization of international relations. International organizations such as IMF, WTO, and World Bank are multilateral in nature. These institutions aim to enhance the economic and social welfare of all the member countries by coordinating the policies at global level. The membership of these organizations is voluntary. The advocates of regionalism believed that contemporary problems can be better solved at the regional rather than bilateral or global levels. It particularly focuses on economic development of a specific region. It refers to economic integration between two or more countries based on official agreements. The member countries grant each other preferential treatment in terms of tariff reduction, market access, etc. Regionalism strives to improve the economic and social welfare of a particular region. The member nation usually have a geographical proximity, but it is not a necessary condition for formation of regional trade agreements. NAFTA, BRICS, ASEAN, European Union are some of the examples of regional trade agreements. Multilateralism, on the other hand, refers to creating a new economic order which aims at devising a policy on the principles of non-discrimination between all member countries. Regionalism refers to bringing in prosperity to few countries. Regional trade agreements allow the member nation to differentiate between the members of regional trade agreement and non-members of regional trade agreements. Multilateral organizations are wider in scope as the members comprises of developed, developing and least developed countries. The process of trade liberalization is faster within regional trade blocs compared to multilateral trade organization. Regional integration means organization of two or more countries into a group with an objective of reducing trade barriers to each other and at a later stages engaging into dialogues and discussions to establish a common market with the aim of integrating regional economic policies of member countries. We can point-wise try to understand the importance of regional economic cooperation. Point 1. Regional economic cooperation positively contributes towards the economic development of developing countries. Such cooperation helps the member countries overcome the limitations arising due to small size of their domestic market. Point 2. Regional integration helps the member countries benefit from the economies of scale and specialization. Point 3. Countries forming the regional trade agreements reduce or eliminate trade barriers towards each other. This helps in increasing gains from trade. Point 4. Regional economic cooperation helps the member countries in optimally utilizing its economic potential in terms of human, natural, and technological resources. Point 5 is regional agreements helps in expansion and diversification of industrial sector. Growth of industrial sector helps in increasing exports of manufactured products by developing countries which otherwise has a low share of industrial exports. Point 6. It helps the member countries exploit the potential complementarities and thus match the exports of one nation with imports of another. Such trading arrangement also helps in building strategic alliances between the enterprises of member countries and improve their competitiveness in global market. Regional agreements also help in strengthening political and economic ties between the member countries and manage migration flows. The collective bargaining strength in multilateral organization on trade negotiation helps to derive more benefits. Point 9. It also helps the member countries enhance their cooperation in areas such as academics, culture, research and development, professional and technical expertise. Let us try to have a look at different forms of regional economic integration. When member countries desire to come together and start a regional trade bloc, the first step towards it is signing of preferential trade agreement. It is a formal agreement signed by all member countries. The member countries, as per this agreement, reduce trade barriers to each other and prefer to trade with one another rather than trading with a non-member. According to Indian government's Export Inspection Council, presently there are around 43 countries participating under the Preferential Trade Agreement. This form of regional economic integration is also known as Generalized System of Preferences. The second step towards regional economic integration is formation of free trade agreement. This agreement leads to elimination of trade barriers such as tariffs on goods and services traded between member countries. Though the trade barriers are eliminated for members, each member country is free to decide on its trade policies with non-members. North American Free Trade Agreement, European Free Trade Agreement, ASEAN Free Trade Area are some of the examples of free trade agreements in practice. If FTAs are successful, then member countries advance to the establishment of custom union. It is an arrangement in which member countries eliminate all kinds of trade barriers among each other and design a common external trade policy with respect to non-members. Thus, member countries impose common tariffs on the imports from non-member countries. Further, countries which advance through custom unions are seen to have established common market. Under the stage of common market, The member countries remove restrictions on the movement of factors of production across borders. Factors of productions like labor, capital, technology are allowed to move freely among member countries. Restrictions on immigration, emigration, and cross border investment are established. The fifth form of regional integration is formation of economic union. When member countries decide to integrate their economic policies and trade as a single market, it leads to establishment of economic union. Member countries coordinate their fiscal, monetary, taxation, and social welfare policies. The formation of economic union requires lot of discussion, deliberation, and high level of trust and objectives and understanding among member countries. At this stage, many a times member countries have to do away or align their national objectives in line with the objectives of that of regional trade agreement. The last form of regional integration is monetary union. It is an offshoot of economic union, and having adopted a common monetary policy, member countries agree on floating a common currency. European Union's euro is an example of monetary union. Now let us try to have a look at few of the regional trade agreement existing in the world. The first one is North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as NAFTA. It is an agreement between Canada, Mexico, and United States of America. The agreement was signed in 1994. As per this agreement, the member countries seek to eliminate all tariffs on products and barriers to services and investment capital among the three member countries. It covers the areas related to market access, trade rules, trade in services, investment, intellectual property, and dispute settlement as advocated by World Trade Organization. As a member of NAFTA, the member countries seek to reduce and eliminate tariffs and non-tariff barriers, deliberate and negotiate on rules pertaining to origin of product and government procurement. The member countries have also agreed to deliberate on rules related to safeguards, subsidies, countervailing and anti-dumping duties, along with health and safety standards. All member countries have pledged to provide adequate and efficient protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights, while ensuring that enforcement measures do not themselves become barriers to genuine trade. NAFTA also provides a dispute settlement process that will be followed instead of any member country resorting to unilateral action against the offending party. The second regional trade agreement is European Union. The European Union or European Economic Community, as it was earlier known as, is one of the most successful regional economic integration as of today. The European Economic Community, formed in January 1958, originally had six member countries. At present, there are 28 members, and with possible exit of United Kingdom, it would be 27. The European Economic Community, signed on the lines of Treaty of Rome, required every member country to point 1 eliminate tariffs, quotas, and other barriers on intra-community trade. Point 2 devise a common internal tariffs on their imports from the rest of the world. Point 3 allow the free movement of factors of production within the community. Point 4. Synchronize their fiscal, monetary, and social security policies. And the last one, adopt a common policy on agriculture, transport, and competition in industry. The next trade bloc is Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which stands for ASEAN countries. It was formed by the Bangkok Declaration in 1967 by five countries, namely Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, with an objective of accelerating economic progress. Countries such as Brunei, Vietnam, Laos PDR, Myanmar, and Cambodia joined this group later. Its secretariat is located at Jakarta, Indonesia. ASEAN region has a lion's share of world's natural rubber, palm oil and tea. It is also an important producer of sugar, coffee, timber, petroleum, nickel, bauxite, tungsten and coal. It is a regional organization formed with an objective of accelerating economic growth, social progress, cultural development in the region, promoting regional peace, collaborating and providing mutual assistance on matters of common interest, integrating for better utilization of agriculture and industry to raise the living standard of people, promoting Southeast Asian studies, and to maintain close and beneficial cooperation with existing international organizations with similar aims and purpose. The South, the last one that we need to have a look at is SARC, which stands for South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. SARC was formally launched in December 1985 and it comprises of seven countries, namely India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Pakistan, and Maldives. The fundamental philosophy of SARC was to accelerate the economic and social development through optimum utilization of the collective human and material resources. The objectives of the SARC are: first, to promote the welfare of the people of South Asia and to improve their quality of life. Second, to accelerate economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region, and to provide all individuals the opportunity to live in dignity and to realize their full potentials. Third, to promote and strengthen collective self reliance among the countries of South Asia. Fourth, to contribute to mutual trust, understanding, appreciation of one another's problem. Fifth, to promote active collaboration and mutual assistance in economic, social, cultural, technical, and scientific fields. Sixth, to strengthen cooperation with other developing countries and to strengthen cooperation among themselves in international forums on matters of common interest. Last, to cooperate with international and regional organizations with similar aims and purposes. These are few of the regional trade agreements, but there are lot many which has been formed by different countries across the world.